Hello guys, welcome. This video is so impromptu. I just happened to see this pool and then I had the craziest idea because everything around is just biology. So we have this pool right here. Now this pool is a still water. An ecosystem is going on in here, and in this ecosystem we have a microorganism called Naeglar fowleri, which is a brain-eating amoeba. So now this amoeba lives in still water. These still waters can be found in abandoned buildings or places where you can see that the water is not flowing, the water is still, right? And as it's still like this, the brain-eating amoeba, the Naeglar fowleri, let's give it a pet name. We're going to call it the NF bacteria. The N stands for Naeglar and the F stands for fowleri. So with that, that's how you're able to remember the NF bacteria. Okay, if I should be naughty, let me say I'm a naughty boy and I come in here and I have this nudge in my head that tells me, let me jump inside this water. You're going to contact, or you're going to be infected. Thank you. You're going to be infected with that bacteria. The bacteria enters into the brain and it starts feeding on the brain. That's why we call it the brain-eating amoeba. And there have been a case of someone who has had, I know on TikTok one time it went viral. A man, I'll put the TikTok on the screen if I find it. The man jumped into a still water and then he became paralyzed. I think he eventually died because he got infected with the NF bacteria. That's terrible. And aside from that, there's another thing that we can see. The water is green. And do you know why the water is green? I'll tell you why. The water is green because there's Spirogyra, an algae. Spirogyra is an example of an algae, right? An algae has chloroplast, and that chloroplast contains a pigment called chlorophyll, and that chlorophyll is what gives it the green color. That's why the pool is green. There's algae in the water. That's why it is heavily green. So this water is infected with a lot of microorganisms.